Well, the recent Israeli operation against Hezbollah has seen its top leadership wiped out, its military capabilities and infrastructure seriously degraded. So where does the military force stand now? Let's speak to Dr. Filippo Dionigi, who is a senior lecturer in international relations at the University of Bristol, but with expertise on the Middle East, especially Lebanon and Hezbollah. Very good to have you with us, Filippo. We can only assume that the IDF feels it's done a lot of damage to Hezbollah and its military infrastructure. Is it possible to know how degraded they are at the moment?
Well, what we know so far is that the past 13 months have been extremely hard for Hezbollah, possibly the hardest that they ever experienced. And their military leadership has been targeted and killed to a significant extent. Its political leadership, including the very charismatic figure of the Secretary General, Hassan Nasrallah, has been also murdered at the end of September. And also the infrastructure of Hezbollah, both its military infrastructure, but also its social, economic and political branches, such as Qard al-Hassan, have been targeted and destroyed. That means that Hezbollah's capacity has been certainly degraded to a significant extent. However, we should consider the fact that notwithstanding these very serious military attacks that it suffered, also the fact that it has been penetrated by the Israeli intelligence very deeply, notwithstanding this aspect, Hezbollah up until recently, in the past few days, has been capable of launching rockets and UAVs, drone attacks upon Israeli territory and Israeli targets. And it has also been capable of putting up a significant resistance against the Israeli troops operating on Lebanese ground since their ground operations began in early October. Meaning that, again, yes, militarily has been degraded, but it's still functional to an extent, and probably to an extent they still represent a degree of insecurity for Israel unless this ceasefire actually works out properly.
And how do you expect the leadership to behave right now? If they stop focusing so much on their military operations and attacking Israel, do you expect that they might start looking inward a little bit more, focusing more on the political sphere and their influence inside Lebanon?
Yeah, exactly. This is a question that only we will be able to answer properly only with time. But from the latest speech that was given by the current Secretary General, Naim Qassem, it seems like Hezbollah is interested in becoming a little bit more involved in the political process. There might be questions coming to Hezbollah demanding a degree of clarity with regard to the legitimacy of its military action and its military capabilities within Lebanon at this point. Hezbollah has effectively initiated a war against Israel on the 8th of October 2023 after Hamas attack against Israel, for which it did not have an official authorization, right? And I mean, it's difficult to question whether it's hard to, we need to ask whether actually they, to what extent the Lebanese were ready to pay a price for that war and to what extent. And it might be possible that both Hezbollah opponents within Lebanon will question the legitimacy of Hezbollah's military role, but perhaps also its allies may begin to sort of ask to Hezbollah to restrain its military activity and perhaps prioritize the security of Lebanon itself and the Lebanese people.
Dr. Filippo Dionigi, thank you very much for joining us with your assessment there.
Thank you.
Well, one thing we haven't talked about yet is what is happening in Gaza.